let me thank the organizers for inviting me this afternoon, and especially Bala and Ram. See, basically, I can say that the Indian IT industry and my professional career are fellow travelers. So I've been involved in the Indian IT industry from the very beginning, and I've seen the several adventures and pioneering efforts which happened in the IT industry in the last 45 years. So let me start with a small video, short video, which depicts the early days of IT industry when India became the preferred destination of IT outsourcing.
The Western world was flourishing with invention up to the 1990s, and communication had advanced from the telegram, telex, fax, teletel, up to email. India then was in a stagnant license Raj situation when Dr. Sridhar Mitta joined Wipro as Chief Technology Officer. He set up Wipro's R&D division to design computers. Suddenly one day, Dr. Mitta received an email from a person he didn't know, John Graves of San Diego, California. John wanted to get Indian programmers to develop a product using the internet. He wrote, "I give you the idea, you develop the product, you own the IP, you license the product to me. I will sell the product, I will share the proceeds with you." Dr. Mitta accepted the proposal on email. Indian programmers do not have access to PCs and the internet. However, Wipro R&D has access to them, so we will do a pilot on the basis of your offer. No legal contract, no written order, all in virtual communication. Dr. Mitta entrusted the project to Subramaniam, a young R&D engineer. The condition was that all communication should be internet-based only. No phone, no fax, no telex, no physical contact. The project was completed within 2 months. John sold the product to a customer in France. He sent a check by post of a few $100s to Wipro. What's the implication of the John Graves incident? John's idea was given shape by a Wipro engineer in India. A French customer bought the product, paid John, who paid Wipro. A virtual angle was created from here for the future of India's IT industry. It demonstrated the onset of the new digital age. From a small beginning of a few $100s, the Indian software industry has grown to be $80 billion in 2012. It directly employs 5 million people. It's given confidence and hope to Indian industry and India's middle-class young graduates to become a part of the global economy.
But today, the Indian IT industry has started experiencing a crisis situation, basically because of 3 reasons. One is wage inflation. Wages are increasing substantially, making the wage arbitrage on which the Indian IT outsourcing industry started becomes unviable. The attrition levels have become very high and is untenable. And above all, there is a situation of non-availability of certain skills at certain locations. But in a country of 1.2 billion population and third largest scientific pool, to say that there is a talent gap sounds ridiculous. If you look at today's model of working, essentially we see that we have large centers of IT companies in cities because we need to get people which are available in different places, and the Indian education system is not in alignment with the needs of the industry, which essentially makes it the industry to hire these people and teach them by investing large amount of resources to teach what they are supposed to learn in the college but did not learn. So with the result that you need a lot of resources, only large companies can invest, and because of which we see that large companies becoming larger and spending a lot of their effort on this training or retraining the graduates. But typically what is happening is the talent problem, which is creating all these issues, can be looked in a different way. If you look at the migration patterns of the students or graduates who are coming into the industry, we see that there is a huge untapped pool of non-immigrant, non-migrant employable graduates in small towns. So let's look at how the talent is generated in the country. In India, there are about few thousand engineering colleges, and they graduate about 450,000 graduates every year. But if you look at the distribution of these colleges, the top 150 ranked colleges are in cities or tier 1 cities, metros and other things, whereas most of the bottom ring colleges from 150 rank to the below are in the small towns. If you apply the filters of relevant study streams and suitable for IT industry, which means ability to speak English, communicate and all those things, we hardly get about 113,000 students which are employable after retraining by the industry, which is less than 25%. But the industry is not going to all the colleges because of the logistics reasons and have this demand and supply problem. But at the same time, there are about 40,000 graduates every year who are qualified by the current IT standards, industry standards, but not employed because they are located in small towns. They don't want to migrate for various reasons. For example, girls, even though they get a good job in a Yahoo or a IBM or a Wipro, the parents do not allow them to go to city for gender reasons. Or people who are not financially strong, or people who have very poor communications, they don't try to move to the cities. So here is a resource on which investments have been already made by the parents, graduates, state and others, and still not being utilized. So what is the solution now? As Professor C.K. Prahalad has told, you should not simply or blindly follow best practices which are good yesterday, may not be good tomorrow. We have to invent next practices. So one of the model which can work in this situation is to have a distributed model, which is more similar to an internet model, of having large number of small centers in small towns. Because if people don't want to move from small towns to big cities, work can move from big cities to small towns. And it's not an impossible thing because work has moved from US and Europe to Indian cities. Why can't it move from Indian cities to Indian small towns and rural areas? So once we have small towns where people can walk, go by bike, or work in an environment which is close to home, and at the same time, the customers want to have interactions with a center in the city. So the nodal center can be in the city, while the delivery centers can be in the small towns. So this is a model which can work, and the work between the nodal center and delivery centers can be equally or appropriately apportioned. The nodal center is like the front end of a company, current IT company, which takes the responsibility for sales, marketing, standard operating procedures, quality management, technology enablement, business continuity, and corporate governance. While small town delivery centers can take the role of project delivery, SLAs meeting, identifying and recruiting right talent, managing them, and taking care of them. What kind of services can be done in these centers? I feel that anything what an engineer can do in Bangalore can be done by these engineers in small towns. However, it's better to start with a certain simpler activities which are easy to define in terms of both input and output and the process, and then graduate into higher value-added things. But there are certain areas which are much more amenable for these kind of services. One is content monetization. All of us know that internet has so much of content and increasing by the day and the hour. And there are companies which are coming out simply to monetize the content on the internet. even though we can develop a lot of technology and platforms and algorithms to do this one, there is always a sliver of work which has to be done manually, and this has to be done at a very low cost and in a large number. And we are working with few startups in this area of content monetization. Chat-based support. So the people in small towns do not have the accent and other communication capabilities, but at the same time they are good in English, they know how to interact, they know the technology required to provide technical support or customer support or these kind of things using chat. Digital image applications. Today with the digital cameras and digital videos, there is so much of photos and videos which are on the internet again, which needs to be converted to a form which it can be consumed. For example, there is a photo book company which offers services for people to put on their photos and select them, sequence them, annotate, and make into a digital photo book. When 100 people upload their photos, only 20% of them really print the photo books, 80% abandon the jobs. So there is a service which is being offered, manual service, but the problem is the customer is willing to pay only $10 to $15 for this service, and it takes 4 to 5 hours to do it. So the only way this kind of service can be done is if it is offered less than $3 an hour. There is no way you can do it in a big city like Bangalore or Chennai, but at a Chittoor center it's being done at $2.5 an hour. But traditional engineering services and back office work can also be done in these centers. So, but will this distributed delivery model work? So Next12 started by me and 3 of my colleagues from Wipro have started Next12 2 years ago, and we have followed this distributed model of establishing centers in small towns and having the nodal center in Bangalore and trying to do same or similar type of work which was done in our earlier company in the early days. So some of the value to the customers, basically it's like a same outsourcing story from US to Indian cities, now is applicable from Indian cities to small towns. But the important difference here is all these small town centers are not managed by managers sent from Bangalore. These are all entrepreneurs who are well qualified and have the ability to run these kind of centers. We are very happy to note that people from cities and people who are from United States are willing to come and go back to these centers and man them. And it's also financially rewarding. And finally, it has a huge social impact because Next12 focuses on girl engineers who don't want to go to cities, and they are able to find a good place of work, decent place, decent work, decent salary and a career without actually leaving home. And for entrepreneurs, they are creating a local social and economic ecosystem which helps not only them but also the society. And today we have about 3 locations, 4 centers, 500 people employed, and we have a target of about 10,000 people to be employed. So will this next practice work? Let's have a look at one of the centers.
South of Bengaluru, far from the hustle and bustle of the city, is an IT center of 250 people. Here at Mallasamudram, young people are changing the face of the IT industry. This is the story of these global players from the heart of rural India. And this is the story of Next12, a story of inclusive growth, of opportunities, of lives transformed.
I am Faustino Avinash Rosario. I am an entrepreneur here. I run the Mahindra Next World Center out of Malasamudram. Nearly 68% of our population, people working here are engineering graduates, about 20% are postgraduates, the rest are graduates. They come from a typical family background of weavers, daily wage laborers, farmers. Some are self-employed and very few working on the private and the government sector.
என் பேர் சங்கர். நான் எம்பிஏ சிஸ்டம்ஸ் முடிச்சிருக்கேன். மை பேரண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் வீவர்ஸ். எனக்கு ஒரு பிரதர் இருக்கான், அவன் பிசிஏ படிச்சிருக்கான். when I did my graduation, I thought I should go to Bangalore or Chennai, but I got the job in Salem.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ವೀರಭದ್ರಾಯಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ನಾನು ಶಿವಮೊಗ್ಗದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಯರ್ PUC ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಾನು 4 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಈ ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
My name is Yasmin Banu from Salem. I have completed my MCA in Mahindra Engineering College. Now I am working in a Mahindra Nextwealth and I feel very proud to be a part of this company. My aspiration is to get a good position in this company.
எனக்கு மேலே படிக்க வாய்ப்பு இல்லாமல் போனனால என் பொண்ணுங்களையாவது படிக்க வச்சு அவங்களாம் வேலைக்கு போகணும், சொந்த காலில் நிற்கணும்.
So this girl is a girl after graduation. Parents did not allow her to go and work. So she stopped eating at home and the parents went to the principal and said what to do. Principal said, why do you have a problem? She studied in this college and the center is there, why don't you go and see? After seeing, they reluctantly allowed her to work, and today she is the top performer in the whole batch, and she earns a salary, first salary is more than what her father earns at the end of 20 years. And she said she would have got married by now but for this job. So ladies and gentlemen, this is IT 2.0 for India and it's the beginning. And I'm again glad to be part from its initial stages as I was 45 years ago when I joined ECIL. Thank you.